Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrolist, and it's not your Monday video. It is now your Tuesday video because if you saw the one I released on Monday, I had some of my own personal things going on, and I posted about that. I guess Lando Norris winning his first Grand Prix is so yesterday. Actually, it's so the day before yesterday that I may as well not talk about it. Just kidding. We're going to get to that. Let's talk about the Miami Grand Prix. So, I kind of like to do things sequentially, so I'm going to get to Lando Norris. Don't you worry about that. But what's up with Red Bull? What was up with Red Bull? I mean, I think people should be able to have a bad day. I almost said Checo Norris. Checo nearly took out Max Verstappen in lap one. This hot and cold driving habit or tendency of his, I think that might be the one thing that lands him a one-way ticket out of the second seat at Red Bull, because sometimes he looks like he's in contention for the championship, and some days he looks like his mind isn't there, and he almost crashed into his teammate. And noticeable tension between Christian Horner and Adrian Newey, and Adrian Newey, from what I hear, is a guy that doesn't like too much drama. He likes to just get his stuff done, head home after work, have a burger, something like that. Doesn't like to be bothered with the tabloids. And Christian Horner has landed him and the rest of his team in the headlines like every night, or at least every night for a while. And, oh yeah, notably, Max Verstappen finished a race, but did not win the race that he finished. And that is actually kind of new. So, Max Verstappen finishing a race, but not winning the race, it kind of proves my point that I was trying to make on other videos. And that is the fact that F1 car design and construction is, in my opinion, 50% of the equation. You've got to have the right car. It's got to be well built. It's got to be well designed. It's got to be innovative. It's got to push the regulations to their performance limits. And then you've got to have a driver who is skillful enough to extract every bit of the performance out of said innovative car. I think that people look at the World Drivers' Championship as the main goal, and then they look at the World Constructors Championship as an add-on, but that's not the case. Lando Norris beat Max Verstappen by a full 7 seconds. That's kind of unheard of. Now, I know there's a weird safety car, but even without that, Lando Norris kept pulling away from an RB20. And that is kind of crazy. Now, remember, Max Verstappen only had 10 wins in his first 6 seasons of Formula One. I think the math turns into 1.6 wins per year. I think right now in the current day, that is kind of, the equivalent of Carlos Sainz. But cars, they do make a huge difference. Speaking of upgrades, the McLaren upgrades for Miami were absolutely phenomenal. They saw Norris to his first ever win. Let's take a minute to acknowledge that and just how awesome that is. That was ahead of schedule in my book. I watched Peter Windsor's analysis of the Miami Grand Prix, and he said that he thought that Lando Norris was going to win one this season. Don't know how he saw that. I thought that Red Bull was going to have another flawless season, and that Lando would have to wait his turn behind both Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. but that's not the way it ended. And that's good. I think that's a shot in the arm for Formula One. It's a shot in the arm for Liberty Media, who needs to sustain their ratings. And it's a shot in the arm for fans of motorsport who don't want to know extremely predictably who's going to win when they tune in. I didn't see it live because I was also on a racetrack, so kind of hard to watch TV when you're in a race car. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, not because Max Verstappen lost. Again, I have the utmost respect for Red Bull and Max Verstappen and what they've been able to achieve, but just because you want some action at the front. You want a little bit of unpredictability, because if not, why are you watching? The upgrades also allowed Piastri to hold on to second position for quite a while. And then he did actually make, I want to say, a little bit of a rookie mistake. And he got some contact, slowed his car down. And speaking of mistakes, Max Verstappen, I don't know if it was based on frustration or if the car simply handled that poorly, but he ended up hitting a pylon. And that made his times against Lando Norris effectively even worse. So, but what that means for this season is there could be a 3-team battle for the Constructors' Championship. McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. By all rights, Mercedes should be a part of that, but I don't know what is going on there. Lewis Hamilton looked angry, yet motivated in Miami, but it was kind of sad to see him battling against a Haas car and Hulkenberg passing him multiple times. Now, am I happy for Hulkenberg? Absolutely. Am I happy for Haas? Absolutely, because I like to see different teams get ahead. But there's something about watching a Mercedes car struggle, especially against some of the traditionally lower tier teams. It is unsettling, and it makes you wonder what's going on. And the best drivers, I don't think they're going to be clawing at Mercedes' door anytime soon. What else do we have? Look at that. I've got so many notes about the race and almost nothing about contracts. Matter of fact, I don't think I talked about contracts at all, which is, oh my gosh, refreshing. It was crazy to see Lando Norris lead a return to the race after the safety car. That was pretty cool. I have to admit, I was extremely happy for him. I've always thought, not always, since Piastri came on the scene, I thought that Piastri was gonna get a win before Lando Norris did, but I'm happily wrong. Lap 40 saw some classic Lewis Hamilton racecraft, snagging an obscure overtake opportunity where I think most other drivers would have maybe stayed single file, but Lewis Hamilton came out of nowhere, and yeah, it was amazing. I think the two best overtake artists on the grid right now are Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. Seb definitely had the mojo when he was still driving. It would be cool to see him drive again, by the way. But, seeing Lewis Hamilton with his racecraft and his aggression still on display, it gives me personally hope for the 2025 season, and hope that perhaps he still has the drive to go for his 8th official world championship. This was good. Now, a safety car, that does bother me just a little bit. Lando Norris was able to run free. Meanwhile, the rest of the grid was stacked behind the safety car. Was Massey? Did he come back? He come back as an intern, and he's calling some shots. It wasn't as egregious as Abu Dhabi, but I hate to see anybody get asterisks. I think that had Max Verstappen not won in Abu Dhabi, but did win in the ground effects era, I don't think that there'd be any questions. And I think that Lewis Hamilton would have had his 8th, and he probably would have retired and we would be seeing a completely different George Russell right now, because he would have had a couple of years to race free of the protege, Kimi Antonelli. And I think that, just the whole F1 world would have been a better place, but that's not what they did. And by gosh, the FIA, Formula One, they have to stop planting the seeds of distrust and the drivers, the teams, and the fans. All right, speaking of distrust, no, I'm kidding. I don't think it's related at all. Cadillac is the latest of quite a few vehicle manufacturers that are kind of backtracking on their all electric future. I don't hate electric cars. They're not for me. I don't personally want one, but I think everybody should have the choice. And if it works out for you, you like the quietness, you like not having to go to the gas station. I'm trying to think of other things to like. Anyway, if you like whatever it is that those cars do, by all means, more power to you. And if I don't like what those cars do, more power to me. And we both go our separate ways. We buy our cars, and then we both meet for coffee and not talk about cars. We talk about something else, because we're not going to be interested in each other's conversations, quite frankly. But Cadillac, like a few other manufacturers, they're going to let the customers be their guide. It sounds kind of noble, but guys, you should have done that a while ago. You should have let the customers be your guide before you started making a whole bunch of weird announcements and decisions. But the world is getting back to normal a little bit. Somebody else won a Grand Prix, and people actually have a choice for what they're going to buy well into the future. I think that's it. I think that's it for that. If you haven't seen the 24 hours of Lemon's video that I made, it was a quick synopsis of like about a 5-minute trailer. Do check it out. I'm gonna put it here, or here, or here, or here. I'm not sure how the alignment works on the suggested video cards, but expect to see that. I think it's kind of a blast, and there's going to be a full video coming out at the end of the summer. I'm going to try to make it by then. I'm one guy. I do it all. Cameras, lighting, writing, note-taking, presenting, actioning, when you see me out at the track. So it does take a little bit of effort, but again, passion project. It's what we're doing. Okay, I've been rambling. I'm out.